Hello, American Idol fans. This is the first day of the final season of American Idol, and I'm Jeff Archuleta, the father of David Archuleta, the runner-up in season 7. And I'm one of the very few people on this planet that's actually been through an entire season of American Idol behind the scenes and wasn't a contestant. And as such, I got to look at things from a whole different perspective. And, I got to look at it as a parent, as an adult, but also as somebody that I'd been an entrepreneur. I'd run a bunch of businesses. And one thing I was always just curious about is how do businesses work? And whenever I've had opportunities, I used to be a consultant for many years. I used to go in and figure out how businesses work. So I was just a curious little kid being behind the scenes and trying to understand how the show worked. And at the same time, trying to understand how music works and what it takes to create great music, the world-class level of music. And so when I knew that David wanted to go ahead and audition for American Idol, and he said, hey, I think I do. I want to do something again with my music, and I feel that there's something I'm supposed to be doing. And so, we called around, we decided, hey, is American Idol really a good idea at this point? There's other ways to go about this. David's had some experience, some exposure. Should we do American Idol? And I called some of the best references in the business. One of them was Jay Cooper, one of the most renowned attorneys down in Hollywood. And I asked him what he thought. And he basically said, he goes, you know what? How old is David? And I told him, and he goes, the best thing you can do is get him exposure. And so when he told me that, it's like, well, is there anything better than American Idol for exposure? And of course, 7-8 years ago, I'm not sure there was a better way. So David decided to try it, and I decided, hey, you know what? I'm going to support him. I'm going to try to help him see what he can do. And so we just took it a step at a time. And I've got a lot of information that I'd love to share with you over the season about what we learned and observed and experienced. And I also want to invite you to send in questions. This is the last season. I'm not planning on talking any dirt on the show, just so you know. There were some things that I wasn't happy with. There were some controversial things that happened. But you know what? With hindsight, I do realize that a lot of that was, the show has to do what's best for the show. And there are times when that means that a contestant may not be able to do what they want to do. And it may not necessarily be fair for everybody. But you know what? That's part of the show business. Things are not fair. You have to earn your way. And you got to prove that you can hang. So this really is a business, an industry where you've got to be pretty tough. You've got to be able to handle things. There's some pretty brutal experiences lying ahead for those that go into this business. Now, having said that, it's also a lot of fun in a lot of ways. If your message is something that makes people feel good, and you can see the reaction from people, you can see it in their faces. You get letters, you get so many expressions of appreciation. And it really makes it all worthwhile when you see the good that comes from it. So I am a fan of music. I love music. I'm a lifelong musician. I'm a trumpet player. I love jazz music because of the creative element of it. To me, improvising, being able to create your own melodies every time you play, it's kind of what David was doing when he was singing on the show. It's like our whole thing was, we're not just going to mimic. That's what singers do. We want to show that David's a musician. What musicians do is they take a song and they tweak it a little bit or a lot. Sometimes they completely reinvent it. They reinterpret it. They might even create a whole different arrangement for it. And we did that on several occasions. So the fun thing about music is it's all about creating feelings and emotion through manipulating sounds and organizing sounds. And there's a lot of ways that you can approach music, and we had, we went about it our way, and it'll be interesting to see what the contestants this season do. I also am going to have some suggestions and strategy ideas that I hope can get to some of the contestants, because there are some really important things that early on I realized, you know, a lot of these contestants, they're not going to make it because they didn't understand some of these basic issues, like how to pick a song, how to arrange it, how to know if it'd work in a minute and a half, understanding what moments were, understanding that the intensity level of moments, and how you have to learn how to build those into your songs. Well, this is stuff that was kind of intuitive for us because we had a lot of experience doing this in the past. And it's kind of what jazz musicians do every time they perform, because they're always composing a new melody every time they play. So once you get used to creating on it, that's just part of what you have to do. It makes the game of American Idol a little bit easier too, because then it's easier to come up with arrangement ideas and reinterpret things. So anyway, this is the preview of my first day review coming up after and during the show, during and after the show. And I plan, because I'm in Mountain Standard Time, I'll be an hour behind East and Central Time, and I'll be an hour or two ahead, I guess, of California time. And as such, I will try to get these reviews up as quickly as possible and within all the legal ramifications, because I understand there might be things you can't include in the video. So with that being said, I'm looking forward to a very fun and interesting season, and I welcome your comments, suggestions, questions. You know, what do you want to know? You know, what would someone like me have of interest for someone like you? You know, there might be some really fun things I could just share with you. And not just about American Idol, you know, about record companies, about touring, about what it's like to be in studios with these world famous producers and songwriters. What's it like to do shows where, you know, I remember one time, you know, they said, there's someone that wants to know if they can come back and meet David. And we were in New York at Madison Square Garden, and I remember thinking, okay, it shouldn't be a problem. They go, by the way, it's Bruce Springsteen's daughter. And I thought, oh, wow. Talking about a surreal experience. Who in their wildest dreams would imagine that Bruce Springsteen's daughter would want to come meet your son? And the fun thing is, guess who came back with her to meet him? So Bruce Springsteen comes back, and he walks up, basically next to me, folds his arm, and he just sits there as being dad. And I thought, you know what? I like this guy. You know, I respect the fact that he's just being a dad right now. He's not being Bruce Springsteen, the rock god. He's just being a dad. And you know what? That really was a cool situation. So anyway, lots of great stories. I'll be happy to share here and there. And like I said, I've got a lot of opinions about American Idol. It's going to be a lot of fun critiquing, giving feedback. You know, I might, every now and then, might make fun of somebody here and there, but in a nice way, I hope. So anyway, I hope to welcome you back. I hope to see you often here. Have a good time with me. This is going to be a great final season. See you soon.